Great to have you join us again on the Break It On Papers Review this wonderful Saturday morning. My name is GBOLABO, Female School. We'll be taking a look at some of the major national dailies here in Nigeria, and of course take some headlines out of the national dailies here. And we'll have Austin Uduma also join us for the paper analysis proper this morning. All right, we'll take a look at we have a number of papers here: the Punch newspaper, Nigerian Tribune newspaper, The Nation, and a host of other papers here up for review. We'll start off with the Punch newspaper this morning. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, we'll have this one as the major story. Sokoto bombing, villagers kick as DHQ declares victims killed by terrorist explosives. Discovered top 4, men, coin purchased to buy this week. That's a bit of Bitcoin, and Nigerians regularly in South Africa without justice. That's Nigerians killed regularly in South Africa without justice. Community president coming up with that. True story behind 7 doors. That's a bit of entertainment by Femi Adebayo. Secondary explosion, not airstrike, killed Sokoto villagers. That's an explanation from DHQ. And of course, we have some couple more here. Fighting beefs makes Fuji music more interesting. Okay, that's a bit of entertainment still here on the front page of the Punch newspaper. 2 suspected drug dealers nabbed in Cross River, and that's from the Metro Plus page of the Punch newspaper as well this morning. We have old news: Sean corporate blackmail, Xenos cautions young entrepreneurs. All right, you're still on to the Break It On Papers Review, and of course, we're still taking a look at the Punch newspaper. More stories here. 180 million hack. Nigerians, that's 180 million naira hack. Nigerians question very dark man's NGO theft claim. Secondary explosion, not airstrike, taken earlier from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. We quickly take a look at all the papers, and we'll look at the Vanguard this morning. And here on the Vanguard, we also have a couple of headlines. Nigeria in 2025, deepening poverty inescapable. Niger's claims of destabilization: we refuse England a base, we can't allow France. Explosion from terrorists, materials killed Sokoto villagers, not airstrike. That's clarifying some of the happenings here by DHQ. We also have this one: why 53.9% of Nigerian children are multi-dimensionally poor, and that appears to be a feature report. Explosion from terrorists to right. We also have this one: 2024 size and hisses and sport. Taking a look at a retrospective look at what 2024 is within the sporting arena here. APC, I will struggle to secure 15,000 votes in Kano. And that is coming from Kwankwaso. All right, let's also look at the Nation newspaper this morning. Before we take on the Nation, we have the Premium Times. And here on the Premium Times, this says tax reform controversy. Akpabio's cafes, Tajuddin's GCUN battle, all the major NAS highlights in 2024. Poor waste disposal heightens disease risk in Abuja community. Investigation despite environmental risk. Nigerian governors converting conservation centers into luxury estates. Police recover vehicle belonging to kidnapped lawmaker. 22 injured as vehicle plows into Christmas procession in Gombe. Villagers killed by military airstrike, buried in Sokoto. And that's a bit of what we have here on the Premium Times. Let's also take a look at The Guardian. And here on the front page of The Guardian, a couple of headlines. 190 flights cancelled, over 5,000 delayed in 2 months. That's according to NCAA. Nigeria-China renew currency swap deal. No automatic return tickets for Senate leader Adaramodu orders. That's according to FIME. Sokoto boasts dry season farming with distribution of free fertilizers. The African Heritage Center unites people to celebrate our shared heritage. And still here on The Guardian, a bit of sport. Don't panic, Super Eagles will qualify for 2026 World Cup. Okay, we also have more here. Federal government firm collaborate to boost Nigeria's livestock sector. 9 states in attendance as Calabar Cultural Carnival kicks off. 18.3 million out of school children. Federal government earmarks 50 billion naira to address challenges. Alright, this is some of the headlines here out of The Guardian. Let's also look at the Nation newspaper this morning. Also pick some headlines out of The Nation. Here on The Nation, on the front page of The Nation this morning, this says Niger's president under fire at home over attack on Nigeria. And Sokoto airstrike, federal government will investigate causes, ensure justice. Matawale speaking. China, Nigeria renew currency swap agreement. And we have Niger's president under fire. We have that earlier. Federal lawmaker counts losses from shutdown of businesses. And Sokoto airstrike, federal government will investigate causes. We also have here Nigerian expresses concern over post-election violence in Mozambique. And let's take a look at more headlines. Monarchs Group wants governorship seat shift to Kwara North in 2027. Okay, and we also have this one. Nigeria's leadership commitment to propel ECOWAS into new era. Barao tops chart of Senate private member bills sponsorship. Diola's intervention in Ilara-Ilase Road construction. All of that, some of the headlines here out of The Nation newspaper this morning. Let's also look at the cable and pick some headlines out of the cable NG this morning. All right, here on the cable, we also have some headlines, some news making the rounds here on the cable NG. And here we have Daniel Bewale allegations by a Nigerian leader attempt to incite Northerners against Tinubu. Ex-Osun Deputy Governor has up named Owa Obokun of Ilesha land. And we also have NTC approved disconnection of exchange telecommunication from MTN network over debt. And DHQ blames death of 10 civilians in Sokoto on secondary explosions. Ayedatiwa to name Ondo High Court complex after Akeredolu. Ogumonak, life is about service to humanity. People should enjoy basic things. My NGO website hacked, 180 million naira stolen. Very dark man cries out. And we also have this on video. Lagos Shopping Festival ends with Young John tennis performances. All of that is some of the headlines out of the cable this morning. We have Austin Udumo joining us proper for the analysis this morning. It's great to have you join us, Austin. Good morning.
GBOLABO, good morning.
Yes,
and thank you for having me.
All right, Austin, let's quickly look at what has been going on in terms of the claims by the Niger leader here and against Nigeria. How much more we have this back and forth. And it appears the man is under fire for some of the statements he made in terms of alleging that Nigeria's cooperation with France may mean a lot of disaster. Now, what do we make out of the reaction to vituperation here?
Well, the Nigerian leader made certain assertions that are not really unfounded. And if care is not taken, some of these assertions can also create tension within the country, especially from the northern parts of the country. I said yesterday the president was in France, I think around last month, for bilateral conversation. If Niger Republic has issue with France, for example, that does not mean that Nigeria necessarily must also have issue with them. So if we have relationship with them based on economic factors, of course, that is understandable. But making a generic and a sweeping statement against Nigeria, whether they like it or not, Nigeria is still the big brother as far as the continent is concerned. For example, personally, I do not see what Nigerians stand to gain when they destabilize, when they support or form an alliance with France to destabilize Niger Republic. I appreciate the level of independence from some West African country, from France, their former colonial master, trying to cut ties, trying to reduce or whittle down the influence of France on the grip of those nations. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. But a situation where you raise allegation that, oh, they want to establish military bases, even some names, locations were mentioned, which has been proven to just be like a propaganda. So what I want us to do, especially in West Africa, is to form a synergy, to come together. Niger, for example, before now, is almost classified like as a failed state. They cannot win the war against terror except for the cooperation of Nigeria. And for Nigeria to also defeat terrorism, they also need a form of synergy from the Nigerian government. So what I want to see and what is expected is that going forward, let there be a kind of collaboration. It does not really matter that, oh, your enemy must definitely be my enemy. It's America that does that. It is because they have superpowers. They have world powers in terms of military, in terms of economy. Niger Republic is too small of a country that will think that whatever they want, Nigeria will want for them, and whoever they don't want to relate to it, Nigeria must also cut ties. Having said all of that, I think Nigerian government must be very careful. Let them also show cause and prove beyond reasonable doubt that the latest alliance between the Nigerian government and the government of France, vis-a-vis the president and their own head of government, we must prove that it is purely economic, that it is purely bilateral. If it is for security, of course, we have our own enemy. We have common enemy, like I said earlier, terrorism. So we must come together to defeat terrorism. If France, for example, want to help us in the area of fight against terrorism, why not? So, but the government must must show the way we are made to believe now that they don't have anything to gain if they support the destabilization of Niger Republic. I think they have a lot of issues in Niger Republic. Maybe their president could also focus more on some of this issue rather than coming up with needless and baseless allegations. However, it must be properly managed because northern Nigeria, they are involved. And you know, northern Nigeria and this current government, you know, there's no love lost between them. So government must be very careful and convince the citizen beyond reasonable doubt that this allegation is just baseless and their relationship with French authority is purely economic and for bilateral relationship.
All right, Austin, let's go to Sokoto State, and the bombing here of Lakurawa terrorists appears to be what the villagers are saying, that the military was trying to target Lakurawa terrorists, but eventually dropped a bomb and it was a humanitarian disaster. But for the DHQ, it's saying, as a matter of fact, that that's not true, that these targets were from terrorist explosions, but the villagers are saying that's not right. Now, would we not say it's too early for the DHQ to come up with this kind of claims here when thorough investigations have not been done? Like we've seen, they said they're going to launch an investigation. Would we say it's too quick for them to say this is not from them?
Yes, it amounts to an hasty conclusion. The DHQ must act like a professional organization. The CDS has come out to tell us that They targeted the enemy, and they were convinced that they did their precision thoroughly based on actionable intelligence, and they were convinced that it was terrorists that were killed. Of course, we have innocent people, quote and unquote, that have been killed. Perhaps that could be due to collateral damage. Maybe in the process of trying to kill the enemy, we accidentally also kill innocent citizens. For the purpose of argument, that is debatable. But for you to call for an investigation, and within 24 hours, we are coming out to say that they died as a result of secondary explosion, that these bandits or these terrorists planted explosive, and that was what killed those villagers. So now you are beginning to admit that perhaps innocent citizens actually died. So how did the explosive device by the terrorists, how do they explode? If that is anything to go by, which means they could have been triggered by forces of the military bomb. So these are the issues. I don't always want to like a situation where people will die. I will now begin to go back and forth, trying to blame ourselves. I said this, and I will continue to say it again. I also strongly condemn the position of the Sokoto state government. They were too frantic and too combative about the issue. This village, apart from the fact that the military dropped bomb and some people died, this village have either to be identified as bases, hideouts for this Lakurawa. So I also expect the Sokoto state government to balance the story that, in the process of trying to take out this enemy, we recorded civilian casualty in the process. Then we now go back to the drawing board to forestall a reoccurrence. Military can make mistakes. Military everywhere in the world make mistakes. Nigerian army have made mistakes repeatedly. But if there are issues of human error as far as this is concerned, we must take responsibility. We must come out to admit that. We must frantically come out to admit that. But a situation where we'll be going back and forth, the CDS said we'll do thorough investigation because we are so sure of our operation. Now the DHQ is coming out again to say that, they were as a result of secondary explosive. Who triggered the secondary explosive? If innocent citizens died in the process, let's come out to admit that, they died in the process. Most time it becomes relatively difficult to take out the enemy without having civilian casualty in form of collateral damage. So it is allowable and most time applicable in situations of war. But coming out to practically play politics, I don't think it makes any sense, especially with the fact that some people die. The northern leaders too, especially in the Sokoto axis, must also come out to show cause, because they were the ones that were calling on the government that, these people are terrorizing us. Of course, they have existed for about 6 years or so, that they have resurged again, and the government need to take them out. And this issue of, once we carry out operation, they suddenly become innocent citizens. We must call for thorough investigation. Let the Sokoto state government calm down. Let the DH2 calm down. Perhaps we could call for an independent inquiry to what happened, the remote causes of all of this. That could help us to also guard against future reoccurrence. But personally, I don't like the way the military is jumping to conclusion again, having first of all called for an investigation.
All right, was the Nigeria-China renewed $2 billion currency swap deal. We know that China, as a name in Nigeria, means a lot for many Nigerians because they see them more or less like our lending arm. They've been the ones lending Nigeria so much money, and now we're having a currency swap. Do you think there's any benefit from this $2 billion currency swap deal?
Yes, there's going to be a lot of economic benefit. China has turned itself to a superpower, I think the last time I checked, they were hovering around $20 trillion GDP. That is massive. That is massive. Favorably competing, almost times serving as economic threats to the United States of America. This swap deal started, I think, in 2017 when President Muhammadu Buhari went to China to look for the possibility of reducing firm influence of the greenback on our own economy vis-a-vis our currency. At that time, we thought that, there's going to be like a respite. The purpose of the swap deal then was that, if a businessman in Nigeria goes to China, you can even trade your naira, you swap it directly rather than changing it to the dollar. I don't know whether you understand that logic. So that reduces the pressure on our currency and also reduces the influence of the greenback. So now that the government is looking at that approach again, I think it's going to really help us. 20 billion, 200 billion is a whole lot. So if that is coming, this is what we have asked the government to do. Wherever you can get money, let's stabilize our currency. There's no nation in the world that allow its currency to simply be determined by market forces alone. Once in a while, government of nation intervene through their central bank to stabilize their currency. You stabilize your currency at one point or the other, because the currency, the volatility against the greenback is like a security issue. It affects every strata of our life. You know, somebody who sell ewedu, for example, will tell you that dollar has gone up. You know, you now begin to wonder that, these things are locally made. They are locally made, they are locally sourced, but they will also consume or have to buy those things that has to do with the forest. So there is a whole lot of advantage for us if we stabilize our currency. The president is benchmarking 1,500 to a dollar, 1,500 naira to a dollar for the 2025 budget. For us to achieve that and relatively even do much more, the government have to go all out to attract investment, to see whatever they can do. If this swapping is one of the methods, let it come as quickly as possible. The government must also focus on foreign direct investments, the FDI. They are long-lasting and they are more sustainable. Of course, portfolio investment is also very good, but portfolio investment is regarded as hot money. They come and they go. But the one that can sustain the economy, the one that can have multiplier effect in terms of job creation, in terms of impact on the gross domestic product, is the foreign direct investment. So if the federal government has brokered this economic deal, I say it's a welcome development. They should do much more to stabilize our currency, strengthen our currency, stabilize our economy, and reduce pressure and volatility in the forex market.
But Austin, what about the issue of trust deficits? Now, Nigerians have issues with the government when it comes to especially the CBN policies, because they feel that somehow the government intervenes and interferes with some of the policies of the CBN, especially the monetary policies and even the fiscal policy itself. Now, how much more can the people even trust the government with any arrangement in terms of monetary policies like, Naira swap or currency swap here?
We don't have to believe the government. There is a trust deficit, like you have said. We can't be stampeded to believe the government. But once in a while, we could give government benefit of the doubt. If by next month, dollar is trading for 1,000 naira, do you need to believe government? You will see the impact. What everybody wants to see is results. If all this action want to swap currency, how does it make sense to my grandmother in the village? It does not make sense to an average Nigerian. What we want to do is, what Nigerians are expecting is that let the forex market be stabilized, Let our currency become stronger. Let us get value for our currency. That will increase and strengthen the purchasing power of an average Nigeria. And that will also impact on food prices. And at the end of the day, make good impact on the economy. If I make a promise, or I just tell you, GBOLABO, this morning, this is what I'm going to do, you have a choice not to believe me. But if you see the result coming, you will now realize that, oh, they said it. It is the obligation of the government to provide a lot of these things. We don't have to start clapping for government because they want to swap currency. All we want to see is impact on the economy. How does this affect people's life? How does this translate to a better life for the people? How does this improve the welfare and the living condition of our people? That is what we want to do. At this stage, anybody can believe. People may not believe because there's a trust gap, there's a trust deficit. We have been, our leaders over time have dealt with us treacherously to the extent that even if they mean well, we have reasons to doubt them because good intention does not translate to good governance. All our presidents have always had good intention. Fantastic. How do you then translate the good intention to improve governance vis-a-vis economic impact, positive impact in the life of the people? This is what we want to say as a people.
All right, Austin, I'm going to tie these two headlines together. This says why 53.9% of Nigerian children are multidimensionally poor, and that's a special report from Vanguard, and it named lack of political will, unemployment, corruption as some of the indices that could have led to this. But then we also saw Ndume sharing video of people waiting for palliatives at Tinubu's residence. He's been condemned in some quarters of the society, saying he shouldn't have gone that far. But now, what is the daunting reality here for us? We saw the Ibadan stampede is still a major headline too here this morning. What is this calling our attention to? Do we see that these children, children are among these people begging for alms, palliatives? They also have parents who are also poor. Now, how do we define this in an economy where we have the president saying he has fulfilled all his obligations and he's giving himself an excellent pass mark? Where then do we stand?
Well, from what the president has said, he also admitted that there is hardship, there is hunger in the land. You can't blindfold anybody for that. It is obvious. Even if you are blind, you will be able to feel it that things are hard in the country. We don't have to start debating that whether things are hard or not. The economic situation in Nigeria is degenerating unless and until government is able to arrest it at some point. The president promises reform. He is doing his reform. He asks for more time. Of course, 18 months is gone. Let's see what happens in the new year. Because if after 2025 we have not beginning to see the positive impact of this reform, a lot of people will lose hope. So on the issue of poverty, multidimensional poverty, it is alarming. I'm not surprised by the reports. In short, I can even call it a conservative report. In a nutshell, it could be more than that. If as at 2021, if over 100 million people were multidimensionally poor, and we're not talking about 54 million children, is it not poor? Who will poor parents give birth to? Is it not poor children? That is the way it works. So poverty has multiplied over time. That is the reason why the government must do everything within their power, especially address the issue of food prices. Food prices. There is a proverb in Yoruba that, if hunger problem is solved, of course, a lot of Nigerians today are not talking about building houses. A lot of Nigerians today are not talking about buying car. It's just to keep body and soul together, just to have something to keep the body together. As for the stampede, it is quite unfortunate. There have been a lot of conversations. Some people say, oh, blame the government. Some people, Falana said yesterday that government should pay compensation, that it is not poverty. According to Falana, he said it's not poverty, that it is the fault of the police. And I begin to wonder that police is supposed to provide security for that type of gathering. And I begin to wonder if the organizer, for example, obtained permission for police protection for 100 people. And at the end of the day, police deploy like 20 people for security. And at the end of the day, 2,000 people shows up. What do we expect the police to do? Most of the time, we blame our agencies as if they are not, first of all, part of the system. They are a product of the system, for crying out loud.
But do we talk about, sorry, Austin, just to butt in, do we then talk about proactiveness? Because the people stormed the venue earlier before the start of the event. Some of them, from what we heard from the reports, that they got there around 5:45 a.m. and the police are supposed to resume for 8. Now, do we now talk about proactiveness? Because we do have patrol, the police patrol that goes round. So do we now see that there was negligence even on the part of security here?
GBOLABO, there is negligence on the part of everybody. There is also negligence on the part of the parents. If the place had been crowded as early as 5 a.m., why not even call off the program? Who says the program cannot be called off? If you have events such as big as that, you are using a secondary school, you can decide to use Adamasingba Stadium, for example. Okay, if permission has been obtained and police have been deployed for 8 a.m., so what you are expecting as far as Nigerian factor is concerned is that those who were already crowded, the place has been crowded by 5 a.m. So you expect police that will resume by 8 to turn themselves to ghosts and be there by 5 a.m. I don't think we need to blame the police too much. How about parents who saw the crowd and still decide to start throwing their children? We blame everything on government, we blame everything on poverty. But my reasoning is that, does it mean that if that program succeeded that day, how does that solve the hunger problem in the life of the people? It does not solve the hunger problem. It's just like a gesture. Like the organizer mean well for the people. They wanted to reach out to the kids. But it's a mentality among us. I will continue to emphasize this. I blame the organizer. I also blame the police. But the police does not have the entire blame. I also blame the system. I also blame ourselves. Still call for something like that tomorrow. If there are lapses, we will still do the same thing. Once there is any free bill, we don't care. Everybody must be there. You now begin to wonder, what are they going to give them? That as early as 5 a.m., parents were coming. The other report that we also got was that the program is exclusively for children. But some people
our time is actually
lot of people.
Okay, our time is actually almost off for first commercials here. But before we take that, I just wanted to add this. Now we also have this headline: says Ooni's ex-queen on hunger strike in Agodi prison. We also have Primate Ayodele seeking for the release of Ooni's ex-queen. Now, do we see sentiments are getting in here, or the government went too far with some of this arrest itself?
Went too far that innocent children died and the organizer were arrested? How far do you want the government to go? The primate that is calling for the release, I don't know, the case is in court. Let's see how it goes. Going on hunger strike is allowable. We are talking about this because they are prominent in Nigeria. A lot of people have died in cell. A lot of people have died in detention. It is unfortunate. They just had to explain how come this happened. It happened in Anambra. It happened in Abuja. So these are the issue. If it happens again, our people will still fall victim. Hunger is contributing to the factor, of course, no doubt. But the truth of the matter is that we also have the Nigerian factor. We have the Nigerian factor. Because once you see that the place was already overcrowded as early as 5 a.m., you can even call up the program. Let everybody go to their home. Let them go back to their home. With that, you will save yourself a lot of headache. You will save yourself a lot of this agony. So what are we learning? What are we even learning from this now? What are we learning? That's the issue. Won't it repeat itself again tomorrow? So that's the issue.
Well, Austin, we have to go on this break right about now. When we do come back, we'll be having more on the Break It On Papers Review here. Please do stay with us.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
When I say golden, you say penny, golden, penny, golden, penny.
Wake up to breakfast with my golden penny. I enjoy my first choice, nourishing goodness every morning. Oh, whether I walk up in a play, yummy dishes every day. Mama's recipe they upgrade. Oh, when she's using golden penny for lunch or dinner, quality we deliver. Crunchy snacks, golden penny, serving happiness, nourishing families. Golden penny, yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny, delicious golden penny.
Make this season special with Golden Penny Foods. Enjoy delicious meals that bring joy, warmth, and love to you and your loved ones. Season's greetings from Golden Penny, home of good foods. Serving happiness, nourishing families. Yum!
Oga teacher, abeg, wetin dey happen when my pikin dem come school? Why e be say dem go comot house very clean, when dem come back the difference no be here o.
Now because action no dey finish ma. All the book dem dey learn plus sports wey dem dey do dey burn energy. So that sweat stain, the uniform wey tear and dirty shoes show say your pikin dey very active.
Na wow!
Your pikin dem need nourishing energy. Make you give them the new improved Milo for breakfast. E get correct nutrients wey dey support energy release to help them use their day well. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
We share love, we share joy, we come with open heart. Oh, share yummy, 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 yummy. So celebrate, jubilate, share the plate, just follow the aroma. 'Tis the season to show some love.
Kò bá jẹ́ 24, 29 tàbí 32 ṣáà ti fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú wa lórí gbogbo ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ kàn tẹ 32 FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀.
Is it okay to make fun of our tooth gap? Let's have a talk. Colgate makes your teeth so strong. Stop cover your mouth. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Zero cavities and fresh breath. If you use a Colgate paste. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate, #1 oral care brand in the world.
Start your day and have a good time.
Kivo Creamer,
Even when you need to clear your eyes.
Kivo Creamer,
Or when you need to have the break time.
Kivo Creamer,
If not tea, Papa Garita.
Kivo Creamer, Kivo Creamer, Kivo Creamer, Kivo Creamer,
Good time moments with Kivo Creamer.
Kivo Creamer.
I'm in love. Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Is it to open? Is it to squeeze? Is it to scoop? And is it to stir?
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Hello, abeg no vex. This Milo packet look different too. I see say them write support energy release for this packet. Abeg, na the same Milo.
No, this na the new improved Milo. The support energy release means say when you give your pikin dem Milo as part of their breakfast, you dey give them enough energy when they need to go school.
Ah, I like this one. Oh.
Your pikin dem need nourishing energy. Make you give them the new improved Milo for breakfast. E get correct nutrients wey dey support energy release to help them use their day well. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to Break It On Papers Review here on 32 FM 94.9. And we do still have Austin Iduma. Austin Iduma, I want you to quickly touch on this before we pick our calls this morning. Northern Elders knocked Tinubu for insisting on tax bills. Now, this tax bill, Austin, has been on the front burner for a very long time, and it appears the interest of the Northerners. You've said it before here that this could be selfish interest, but then knocking Tinubu for insisting on this bill with his media chat, with the recent media chats that we witnessed, what do you have to say to this?
I think the North has made up their minds to not to support the president or to attack the president on every issue. On the issue of the tax reform bill, according to the media chat, in my view, I think the president addressed the issue well. He said he's open to cutting edges, that he will continue to negotiate. So what else does the North want? He said the tax reform bill has come to stay. He told the pressmen, he said, I will not tell you what I'm going to do. I will not say more than that. But I'm open to cutting edges. Doesn't that sound like negotiation? The president has called that the bill, the Attorney General and some other people should look at the bill. Let there be more consultation. If there are gray areas, let's address them. But on the issue, no Northerner has been able to come out and say, this is how it will set the North back. No, none of them.
Okay, we do have a caller here, Austin. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, GBOLABO.
Morning, okay.
Good morning, this is okay. Actually, the president really understand what people are going through. Because actually, if you listen to that, his address, in fact, one of the examples he gave was one of his friends that was on convoy, and he's now driving himself. But he himself, his cabinet, he's refused to reduce. In fact, I won't be surprised if he increases it more. That doesn't show like somebody that really understands what people are going through. And on the Niger issue, I want us to know that Nigeria is really hobnobbing with France. France doesn't go to where we not favor them. Most time, they end up destabilizing a particular country. And these Sahel people that they must have seen something. I want us to take note of something. Austin, ECOMOG, that was supposed to be like a military base, it's on paper. It doesn't exist. The military force does not exist. And that's why this small country seems to be challenging us. Probably we are big brothers for nothing, like the former president of Libya said. Good morning. This is okay.
All right. Thank you so much, okay, for that. The numbers are 070-55,000, 949 or 080-97,949. Do remember that we are also live on Facebook, 32FM Fenye 949 Fenye on Facebook. Hello, good morning.
Hello, GBOLABO, good morning.
Good morning, Nadi.
This is from here.
All right, please.
People, you don't have anything. Nigerians do nothing to stabilize the You are feeding on Nigerians. So many things within to Nigeria or to Niger. The man is not popular as a leader in Niger. If you leave us alone. About the stamping, the lot of these organizers do it with what we call it, some political motivation. In Ibadan, you said you want 5,000 children. Go to 10 public schools. Give them 500. The thing will be okay. But because of their own motives, political motives, that's why they are doing it. About the Sokoto issue, it will happen almost every time. If the people continue to embrace the terrorist group, they are using their shed. That's why military are killing innocent people. We should change our mindset in this country. Have a nice time.
All right, thank you so much for that. The numbers again are 070-55,949 or 080-97,949. Do remember, we're still live on Facebook in case you want to drop your comment on Facebook. That's 32FM 949 Fenye with double E's. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
This is John Olariwaju. I'm calling from Agbo. On the issue of Nike, I don't think that we should blame the military man about what he said against our president of trying to bring this against his people. Because you could remember vividly that the former president that in Niger was plot against me by this military man. And if you can recollect that this the former president that was overtook the regime have the connection with France, and the France have the access to their resources in Niger. So when this military man got there, he didn't allow the France to tap their resources again. So definitely, who knows that France wants to use Nigeria to to deal with the military man. So to me, I can never blame the man because he knows that the foreign power, they will try to use another Africa against them. It's just a history that has been there for long. So to me, this is just international politics.
All right.
And they know what they want to do. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you so much for that. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tolu. I'm calling from Cheltenham in the UK.
All right.
On the issue of Niger, I think our people should just exercise some restraint. The issue here is, I think the leader of military junta in Niger is sort of out of depth. So he's looking for how he's going to bring down every other people into whatever he's passing through. I think he's feeling the isolation. So all he needs to do is to keep saying things that will make him to look good to his people. So his failure can easily be blamed on all those around him. Then on the issue of the northern leaders, we know it is not easy for you to take feeding bottle away from a baby. The baby is going to cry and kick, even when it's going to benefit him at the end of the day. The kind of food they are going to give him after taking away the feeding bottle. We know how our northern brothers behave, but I just hope the president can do this and do this so that his name can be remembered for good morning.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning. And quickly on Facebook, we do also have some comment here on Facebook, and we'll take this one from Tolokwe Adeyemi. It says, good morning. The report of over 150 million Nigerians being multidimensionally poor is not a good one at all, and this cannot be separated from the fresh economic policies of the federal government. And we also have this one from Achuno here. Did I get the name right? Okay, this says Puchu Eke. Austin, please, sequel to the meticulous, some part of it is missing. It said, sequel to the meticulous assessment of economic policies of the present federal government that has occasioned the prevailing predicament, I will authoritatively put it to you that millions of Nigerians has lost hope and faith. All right, that's a bit from Facebook, and we have to go this morning. We'll take this as our last caller. You have just 30 seconds to do this. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead. What's the name of where you're calling us from?
I want to speak in Yoruba.
All right. This is an English program.
Nípa ti ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọmọ tó tẹ̀pa. Ẹni tí ó bá gbé kókó tó bá yé òun ló mọ̀ lọ. Tó ti yé. Nígbà tí kọ́mẹ́tẹ́tọ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé nígbà tó ti gbọ́ pé ó ti wà ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé kí ó yẹ kó sọ fún ẹ pé kó máa lọ. Ìgbó ti ń tẹ̀ra wọn pa kó tó débẹ̀. Tọ́lá ní ká máa lọ gan ó tẹ̀ra wọn pa. Nítorí náà ẹ jẹ́ ká wo nǹkan ẹ jẹ́ ká máa wo nǹkan táti máa sọ̀rọ̀ táti máa bílíìmù àwọn èèyàn. Àwọn èèyàn tó lọ síbẹ̀ yẹn ní problem àti gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì tó dá wàhálà lẹ̀. Ẹni tí ebi bá ń pa Jésù gan ní kò gbó wàásù ó ní kọ́kọ́ lọ fún oúnjẹ. Ebi ń pààyàn nígboro.
All right, that's gotten clearly saying that the people needs to be blamed for tripping to that area even before the event started, for people who don't understand Yoruba. And that's the much we can take on the Break It Down Papers review this morning. We must say a big thank you to Austin Udimu for doing this with us, and all those who dropped your comments on Facebook. We do acknowledge everything. Yes, and also all our callers, we say a big thank you. That's the much we can take. My name is GBOLABO, famous Kulam. Baba Fendo is up next. Please do stay with us.
We feel the world.